Hey, you concerned about banking systems? You concerned about taxes coming for crypto? Yeah, we are too. And we're seeing some really astronomical taxes in some of these countries around where we're living now. What can you do about it? How can you avoid these? Well, you can't avoid paying your taxes, but you can bring them down. And you can get them down to a little more realistic, and you can protect your assets. Because right now, the confidence is gone in the banking systems. I am afraid that's so. And let's go and talk about it, and I'll tell you exactly why and what you can do to actually protect your crypto assets, and where there are crypto-friendly banks where you can reduce your taxation. Let's talk about it. It is another great day to be alive, with the hope that the cryptocurrency and blockchain future brings us. Hey, DeFi IoT, want to talk to you today about, look, all these banks are slamming down. Canada took all these bank accounts, seized them, took their money from them. You've got Biden administration, among other countries now, just using an excuse as the Russian invasion into Ukraine as an excuse to just sweep all these people that anybody's affiliated or they think is affiliated, to take their money from them and eliminate the SWIFT so they can't move that money. They're trying to say it's so they can stifle their economy. This is so they can't move that money internationally. They can't get it out. Property in the U.S. that are Russian owned, or amongst these oligarchs that they think are Russians that are supplying or supporting, Biden has issued laws to take that from them, to seize that from them. These are laws that are just being played for governments to steal assets because they're broke. Let's be real about it. So not only that, Biden also overthrew, from what I'm hearing, the central bank in Afghanistan, saying that they owe the United States for the war, etc. And what I understand is a lot of those bank accounts that they seized are also just typical people like us. Now, some of that could be hoopla. Some of that's real, and we know it is. We know it just took place in Canada. The banking system is losing the confidence. Jordan Peterson stated that 20% of the Canadians now have lost confidence in the Canadian banking system for life and generations to come, most probably. And the other 80% in the rest of the world has greatly affected their confidence in the banking system in Canada. One of the reasons that Trudeau finally lifted his Emergency Act, because they were going broke. Everybody started pulling their money out, including Jordan Peterson, from what he said himself. Now, what do we do? What do we put our money then if we can't put it in the banking system? What do we do if we're going to get these astronomical taxes on our crypto earnings and gains? What do we do? How do we do? What do we do legally now to protect our assets? Well, there are answers to that. Just like El Salvador comes along to prove to be this safe haven for Bitcoin. Now, we inquired El Salvador what would it be to form an LLC there and to actually run our business through El Salvador. Well, you can do it, yes, and they'll let you do it, but it's very expensive. Just expensive as going to some of these more traditional offshore locations. Let's take a look at some of that for a minute. I want to clarify, because I was teaching a course a couple weeks ago, and I started telling people how they can reduce their taxes legally. And they said to me, oh, no, you can't do that, because we've been taught, now this is down here in Latin America, we've been taught that we are cheating the state of money. I looked at them square down and said, where do you think your president and your lawmakers have all their assets and all their money running through? Do you think it's coming through here paying that same tax rate you're paying? And they looked at me. They didn't know. The fact is that they do have their assets in these offshore trusts. How do you think these offshore trusts create so much income, or these offshore jurisdictions create so much income with these LLCs and trusts they provide to reduce taxes and to protect private property? Therefore, they go hand in hand with crypto. And I want to highlight one today. We talked last week about Dubai coming up with this new concept, this new tax, this new crypto tax-free zone that it actually exists, but they're not adding to it. It's a little on the expensive side. You're talking about 19, 20,000 a year. You're gonna have to go there too. So you're probably gonna spend like, 30,000 if you spend a week there doing your stuff and going every year to probably renew and so forth. That's gonna run you about 30,000 a year. If you like that, that's fine. But I want to show you some other areas that are a little bit cheaper. Today we're gonna talk about a few more that are out there and specify on one. And I'll keep coming back to others. All right. Look, if we go in here, we can see best offshore trust jurisdictions are Belize, but Belize is not legalized cryptocurrencies. My attorney, our attorney here, has been on the phone and communicating with Belize attorneys, and they have told us that you cannot open a bank account of receiving cryptocurrencies. Cook Islands, Nevis, our focus today, by the way, spoiler alert, is going to be Nevis, Luxembourg, Jersey, Cayman Islands, and the BVIs, British Virgin Islands, amongst others. Let's jump in here and take a little bit of a look of what we got. Why would you want to develop an offshore trust or LLC? Okay, people say, well, you're trying to cheat the government of your taxes. No, legally you can do these things. It's just that people, because they don't know, don't do it. These are the steps of the wealthy. Remember, I was a multimillionaire. And I use these instruments not to avoid taxes, but to protect my personal property, which also allowed me to reduce my tax base and pay what my fair share was. I still paid a lot of money, a lot more money than people made in a year, even couples made in a year. Let's look here. You would form an offshore trust for financial privacy, is what we don't have now in the banking systems, protection of your wealth. We are seeing that you don't have now in the banking systems. A statute of limitations, that is from legal. If somebody tries to sue or go after your wealth, or a government tries to go after your wealth, there's a statute of limitations which they have to do it by. And that depends. And normally it takes longer in proceedings to get done. Nothing about the Nevis is that if they try to actually go after your assets or your bank account in Nevis, it's protected, and you can get a judgment. Doesn't matter what country in, even the United States of America, get a judgment against you by a judge in the U.S., and they will not recognize it in Nevis. It needs to be paid. Got to put a $100,000 deposit up, and the judge will then, or the court system will allow you to then try it all over again from scratch under the Nevis St. Kitts laws, or more so Nevis law, because they both are a little bit separate. St. Kitts and Nevis run banking a little bit differently under different little laws. Even though the whole area there, the West Indies, has a central banking system, each little island has its own laws. In St. Kitts and Nevis are almost touching each other, but each one's a little bit different. St. Kitts is kind of where everybody hangs out, more of kind of like the party, beach life, and you're in the Caribbean, and you have to go there to set it up. You can actually set it up, you not even have to go there. You can set this thing up. But why wouldn't you want to go there? If you got a little extra cash, you can also use it as a tax write-off, because you're doing business. So you can go there. You got this white sandy Caribbean beaches and islands. It's beautiful. I spent a lot of time in the BVIs and the USVIs during my life, owned a scuba shop there. And when I was younger, actually was a dive instructor just for a hobby, but I loved it. Look, the water's warm. It's a great reason to have to go there every year. You can write it off. Look, here's another thing. Protection from foreign court rulings that we just talked about, family planning and tax planning. So you can do your family planning, your state planning through a double LLC and a trust, a limited liability company and a trust. Now in Wyoming and Delaware, you have protection outside of federal law. Yes, you have state law, but you also are in jurisdiction of the United States. So somebody could penetrate that corporate veil, which they've been doing a lot of because judges are not honoring those rulings. They are getting more with deciding with their heart versus on what law is. Go to these established jurisdictions. This is how they make their business. They make their business and their income coming in from people paying to have these trusts and these bank accounts and these limited liability companies there. And here's the best part about it. I want to jump down here a little bit. So you have tax planning as well in there. You can actually hire people to help you out. I have an accountant, since I live down in South America. I have an accountant that's down here. He's an American, does all my offshore accounting for me every year. And I pay him $640 a year to do basic accounting. Now, if I get into the trust and so forth. It won't necessarily be me, it's going to be the company. But if we have any type of ownership in it or any type of benefit in that, we have to declare that. So it might cost me $1,000, $1,200 a month to report all my taxes. You have to look at, what are my costs for running this, my cost annually for doing this, and what will be my cost if I run that back home and paying these new capital gains taxes, and even these ridiculous reporting laws. They're going to need to be reported for American citizens that are coming out, not just in the US, but in other countries as well. So how do we get around that legally? Well, there are jurisdictions, and this is what I'm going to set up today. One, you can go through, you can go in here and punch in two different jurisdictions, Cook Islands, Nevis Trust. After the Cook Islands and Nevis Trust, often considered the next best place to form a foreign trust with a combo LLC, all right? So you have all these different benefits we just talked about. I don't want to repeat it. You can go in. I'll put the link below where you can access this. I want to share something else with you that I think is going to be more beneficial to look at. First of all, let's take a look at this island. You just go in here and look at these islands. It's beautiful. Beautiful. I love the Caribbean, the East Indies. I spent a lot of time out there. Every chance I can get away, that's where I go. For my honeymoon effect, I spent out in Roatan. Love it out there. Now, Belize is Belize. We can talk a little bit about Belize, but we're going to go back to Nevis. Belize is also a tax haven. It's actually easier to get to, less costly to get into, and cheaper to set things up. However, Belize does not have legally that you can do any type of business with cryptocurrency. I mentioned that we talked about El Salvador. Yes, we can do things with cryptocurrency, but the law of the land, or the money of the land is Bitcoin and the dollar, right? So if I want to pull that out, I got to convert that into Bitcoin or dollar to use and make my payments there. If I want to run my money through there, an LLC, for example, I can do that. However, it's awfully costly, and I would rather go to a jurisdiction that's already been established, and I know that's going to continue that way for a long time. El Salvador doesn't, we don't know yet. We hope Bukele can last. We hope this all can expand, and they can create this a new tax haven, because that would be a great benefit for them. But they're already starting to charge a lot of money to do this, so keep that in mind. I would rather have something that already has that reputation. Now, keep in mind, your Swiss banks, if I'm not mistaken, your Cayman Islands, traditionally back in the 80s, that was the place all these the corporate mucky mucks were to reduce taxes and have asset protection. You're not hiding from anybody. No, I don't care what Barack Obama tries to tell anybody. What Barack Obama wants you to do is leave all your assets out there so they can come and take it from you, like what's happening now. Sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody who likes Barack Obama, but that's what he's claiming. And I had a lot of problems with that because my assets were protected. And so people started coming after me saying, hey, why are you hiding your assets? That was a whole different story. But there was a reason. They don't understand. We're going to educate people. I wasn't hiding my assets. I wasn't hiding any assets. I was making sure that they were protected for posterity purposes and for the business. And at the end of the day, when we needed to close the business up because the 2008 crisis hit us too hard, we actually released those assets and liquidate everything off, getting people out the money and offering them our investors with us to actually take a settlement. So we took that all back. It was just so that if somebody else, look, you have somebody out working on your fields and somebody slips and falls or cuts themselves and they go and file a suit against you and you have that asset in that domicile in that jurisdiction. They can sue you and the asset if it's not rightly registered apart from you. And if you have any type of ownership or any type of authority over that asset, there is even ways, laws to be able to breach that veil and award people, force a liquidation of asset and award people who got hurt or negligent on their part. And it could be anybody. It could be anybody. You can have a dead body thrown on your land. And we're down here in Latin America. A dead body thrown on your land and the police find it. I had a tree cut down by somebody and they tried to take my land from me. They tried to come out and say, you're the one to blame. You cut the tree down. I didn't cut the dang tree down. Somebody else came in there and cut it down that lived locally. Somebody saw that, it was cut down, and called in the agency that actually protects the environmental agency, and they came out and cited me, and I had to go through a whole hearing. I did, but it was in a corporation, protected, and so they couldn't take the land. At the end of the day, I had nothing. Everything I had was in corporations and in trusts, and they just paid me a salary. And then later we got it resolved. But my point is this, anything could happen. You got to think about that. And what's happening now is governments are not even hiding what they're doing. They've been doing this all along, and they have been hiding it. Now they're not hiding it anymore. So where can you go? Well, Belize is a good option, but not if you're in crypto. So I want to get you into crypto here to summarize this. Let's go here. Basically, St. Kitts and Nevis are crypto-friendly citizenship and asset protection combo. Listen to this. St. Kitts and Nevis offer a crypto-friendly citizenship and asset protection combo. Look at that. You have a certain amount of crypto or investment in Nevis. You get a St. Kitts Nevis passport. If you're U.S., that's a little more difficult, U.S. resident or citizens, a little more difficult, but there still are benefits there for you as far as not having to report. If you have a passport there, you don't have to report to any other country. In the U.S., you still got to report that. Even though I'm offshore, I still have to file and report what I report here every year. And there's certain a limit, a ceiling that I have to then pay to the U.S., right? So, but it does reduce my taxes greatly. So there's still benefits to it. What we're trying to step away from are these abusive crypto taxes. For example, in Venezuela and in other countries down here in Colombia, the crypto tax is based off of not your capital gains. It's based off your total sale. So you can actually come out of a loss every time you make a transaction. It's ridiculous. And they call that their sales tax. And that's the way it is in the country we're in now too. So obviously we have to do something about that. If we sell off our crypto, it takes a tax off the whole amount what we sold, not just off of what we made. So we have a very small gain, or we don't make that 12%. We have to make beyond 12% to actually sell our crypto out then and have a profit, or we give it all to the government plus our actual capital. That's not just. So we're going to help the government become just. We're going to put this basis in another country. Now, when we pull our money in individually as partners, we'll pay our taxes. We'll pay out 12%. That's just, not paying a double tax. They charge double taxes down here. So it is the sister islands of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Caribbean have recently acquired a reputation among crypto investors as the go-to jurisdiction. They offer crypto-friendly asset protection, banking, citizenship by investment. Look at this. If Asset Protection Trust and LLC, the Nevis Exempt Trust and LLC combo is probably the strongest asset protection structure in the world. A Nevis trust may own one or more LLCs. Generally, the LLC is visible operating arm whose name appears on the bank accounts. There is no public register of shareholders or ultimate beneficial owners in Nevis. So your beneficiaries are not listed in any public type of documents. The exempt trust, meanwhile, stays hidden and protected in the background. Hidden from whom? From predatory litigators, from your governments, from your attorneys that are just going after you because you have money. I've been subject to that a lot, both in the U.S. and living out of the U.S. It's not fun. So it stays hidden and protected. You're not hiding it from because you're trying to avoid or evade taxes. No, you're not. It's in the background, covering your succession, planning needs, and protecting your crypto, fiat, and real estate assets from prying eyes. You have the bank accounts, you have your citizenship by investment, etc. Now, these banks in St. Kitts, Nevis, in these offshore domiciles are actually not banks that go along with typical banking system. They've always bucked the system. In other words, they do their own thing. That gives me more confidence in the banking system. Somewhere along the line, I have to liquidate my crypto into fiat. Until this is more commonly used as crypto to crypto, which I hope comes soon, but I think that's a long way off, being a realist. So what am I going to do? Where am I going to do that at? Better than an LLC and a trust in the island of Nevis, for example. So you ask me, what's it cost to set it up? Well, what's it cost to set up? Your setup fees, I have them here, direct from attorneys that are willing to set this up for you. And once we do this stuff, we'll share them with you how to do it. We'll give you more information of how you can get more. Actually, I'll put down below the link to these people so you can get a hold of them too and look into it yourself. Okay, I'll put this link down below. If our attorney give me the link, I'll put it down below for you. This is the NTL Trust. They've been around since 1984. They're actually located in Nevis in the West Indies. Okay. You want to establish this, it's going to cost you $5,600. Now, if you want to go there and sign or you sign a power of attorney, it's going to cost a little more to go. There's a flight going to Nevis, it's not cheap. If you're in the States, it's much cheaper. You go out of Miami, right? So you're going to go Miami straight down. If you're down here in Latin America, you got to go up to Miami, and then from Miami, you got to go down. So I throw my glasses around here. So You're talking about $5,600 plus your flight and your stay down there. So you can probably throw on there a couple, $3,000. Let's say it's going to run you about $10,000 to go down there, get to know everybody, you know, kind of get everything going, and then spend some time there, relax a little bit, spend a vacation. $10,000, and guess what? It's tax write-off. Now, I'm not a CPA. I'm not trying to be a CPA. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you options out there if you want to look into it. I'm telling you what we're doing, what I've done in the past, and what I'm going to do again. There's annual maintenance fee on this. You're going to be about $4,100 annual maintenance fee. Now, if you're going to go down there every year, which I probably would do, to go down every year, just check on everything, or just hit me in the island around there. So just give me kind of a good excuse to get out and go down there, or send my partners down to get them out of here, a little vacation, and they can go down and renew all of our stuff for us down there. And it's also a write-off for our business. And that's a good benefit that my partners have in going and spending time on these islands, which they've never done before in their lives. These guys are all pretty much young adults I work with, all in their mid-20s. And they're all still single. They're all at the point of getting married now. So they'll have some place to go and get away, write it off, as well as renew our trust. So basically, it's going to cost me $5,000 a year to maintain it. You can have a little more of that for cost for having transactions, but you set things up in a bank, you can handle your transactions online. So an option there is, you can set things up in a bank there. Instead of that, paying them to do transfers for you all the time, you can actually then pull your money up through your bank account into a Wise account, and then move your money back home through Wise account. So there's different ways you can do it. Now, there's some fees in that transaction, but it's still very possible to do it that way and reduce your fees if you're having somebody else go on and send a direct wire from bank to bank, right? So you can do what you want. When you have your bank back home to pull that money out, you put the money in the bank and you pull it out. I don't recommend you leave money there. Now, where that money comes from and so forth, you can have problems with the bank because it's coming from Neva's or it's coming from Wise. That's why I go from Neva's to Wise, Wise to a bank account. I'll pay a little bit more in the actual transfer fees. It's not that much, actually. We upload in the Wise from here for about $15, and then we deposit in the U.S., zero charge. It costs us $15 to go from South America into a bank account in the U.S., $15. That's even much cheaper than if you're going to Western Union or any other way. DeFi IoT Latin America. I hope this helps you out some. I'll put a link below for this contact in Neva's if that interests you. We're going to go and talk about the BVIs, the USVIs. Well, not necessarily USVIs anymore. We kind of lost that, unfortunately, under the Obama administration. But we'll go in and talk to the Caribbean islands, Grand Cayman. Remember, though, the Caymans in Switzerland, they kind of started reporting. They gave up that privacy before. And so they lost that reputation. They're trying to rebuild that, but there's been some element of privacy being given up. Not necessarily in all cases, but there were some where the government was able to penetrate and find information and so forth. And that kind of hurt those systems. Though they exist today, I'd rather stay with some that are more traditional and crypto-friendly, like Neva's. What a better place to go. A Caribbean island with other crypto gurus and get to write it off. DeFi IoT Latin America. I hope this helps you a little bit. Hit the subscribe. We're going to bring out more for you and tell you other jurisdictions too. And give us a like and hit the bell. Talk to you tomorrow. We hope you enjoyed this segment of our video with DeFi IoT. Remember, we're not professional advisors. We do this as a business, as a hobby, and we study, we experiment, and we want to share it with you. If you can get some benefit from this, great. What we do is we go out, we purchase with our own money, and we experiment to see what true results are. We want you to be able to share in our experiences so you don't have to lose like we have. If you can win where we've won, fantastic. Remember to do your own research and your own homework. It's very important before you make any decisions. We will see you in our next video.